can't not use because it is. My mind is never going to leave alone. And then once I start, what happens? The truth comes out that I'm not going to stop. And I'm going to keep going and going and going. Now it goes on to the next page. It says, on 45, it says, lack of power. That was our dilemma. We had to find a power by which we could live, and it had to be a power greater than ourselves. And then it goes on to say, the directions are in the book, don't it? It says that this is what you're going to learn. We're going to tell you this is exactly what this book means. It talks about it. Because it talks about that we have to find that power, which is the third thing. The solution is spiritual. Well, you feel that tension? The solution is spiritual and found deep within us. Be honest with me. How many of y'all struggling with the power greater than yourself concept? It's natural. I did too. I got here. Hey, I was all for the mind and the body. I knew I was screwed up once they told me that. I knew I wasn't going to be able to stop. But when they started talking about the spiritual aspect, I backed off a little bit. Because I came in here with the belief if there is a God, He is punishing me, He don't like me, I'm the little redheaded stepchild, or whatever you want to call it. He just shit on me every chance he got up there. That's not a great higher power to be looking up to, is it? How is that higher power going to help me? It was like the one I believe is just going to keep messing me up. That's the beauty of this program. You can use any conception you got. As long as it's a power greater than you. It's got to be a power greater than you. You can use the universe. You can use this book that saved me, and this program that saved millions of people's lives. You could just believe like I did that somebody else believes. Whatever changed that crazy person might could change me. That's how I got my beginning in step 2. Step 2 says we just got to be willing to believe. Willing. Like I said, the rest of it's a process, right? You just got to remember that you're not God, because you've been God your whole life. And if you read page 62, it tells you that. At the very bottom, it says, first of all, we had to quit playing God. It didn't work. How could I be mad at something I was being my whole life? It's my actions, my attitudes, my blah, blah, blah that got me where I was. But yet, I didn't want to take the blame, so I blame him. Just stick my finger, hey, it's your damn fault, right? But the reality is, everything's our fault. We do it to ourselves. Now, on page 55, I think y'all was going to learn tonight. Middle paragraph, it says, actually we were fooling ourselves. For deep down in every man, woman, and child is the fundamental idea of God. It may be obscured by calamity, by pomp, by worship of other things, but in some form or other, it is there. For faith in a power greater than ourselves, and the miraculous demonstrations of that power in human lives are facts as old as man himself. Like I said, I struggled, right? How many of y'all have had the gut feeling not to do something? It makes you almost like a butterfly and shit. Hey, that's where your spirit lies. That's your higher power saying, hey, dummy, it ain't going to work. What happens, though? We usually still do it, you know? Hey, Daniel, don't rob that bank. They don't even get away with it in the movies. But I'm going to be different this time. I got this, you know? I wish Marcel's in here. That's me. I always get it with that one. But the reality is until I accept the fact that there is a higher power and it's not me, and just move on, because the rest of it's a process. You know, I'll tell you a little bit more in a minute. But by the time you probably get through the steps, you'll have a different perception. I said, hey, I believe whatever changed the guy that was up here bouncing around might have changed me. He's sober. He's got his family back. His kids are in his life. He's happy. Hey, that's all we ever want to be, right? It's just happy. You know, I'm tired of being miserable. I didn't come here to stay miserable. I came here to change. But you've got to be willing to go through the process. And it's not going to be easy. It's not made to be easy. But it is simple. It's simple if you just do what's your suggestion. Follow the directions. It's very simple. But it tells us on page 62 what our problem is. over-reliance on self blocks us from the solution. I fixed it, shit. You got my ADD going. I'm going, what? I went totally. I was like,
This is classic.
over-reliance on self blocks us. Us running the show keeps us from getting sober. Us thinking we know what's best for us and everybody else keeps us high. Why? It's because we've been playing that. We've been playing the higher power our whole life. And if you didn't do what I wanted, I ain't have shit for you. That's how it goes, ain't it? If I can't get nothing from you, you've got nothing to be in my life. I don't need you. Now, it goes on to say selfishness and self-centeredness. That we think is the root of our troubles. Driven by 100 forms of fear, self-delusion, self-seeking, and self-pity, we step on the toes of our fellows and they retaliate. Sometimes they hurt us seemingly without provocation. But we invariably find that at some time in the past, we have made decisions based on self, which later placed us in a position to be hurt. So our troubles, we think, are basically of our own making. They arise out of ourselves, and the alcoholic is an extreme example of self-will run riot. Though I don't usually think so. You can tell me all you want. I'm like, I ain't got a problem. I ain't an addict. I ain't an alcoholic. I can stop anytime I want. It worked great for me. I ended up at the Alvin. It's just like y'all. It says, though he usually doesn't think so, above everything, we alcoholics must be rid of this selfishness. We must, or it kills us. You notice there's exclamation points behind that, don't you? In other words, he's screaming it to you. He's saying, you got to do this, or you're going to die. You have to use your experiences. Half of us have already died. We're lucky to be here. The only reason you're here is because this never left your damn body. I died 3 times when I got shot. The only reason I'm still sitting here is because my spirit never left. Hey, my mind was gone. My body was gone. It flatlined. But I'm still standing here. They were able to bring me back because of my spirit. Once your spirit's gone, you're gone. You know, does that make sense? I mean, I never thought of it like that until somebody put it out there like that to me. I was like, why am I still here? How did I live after dying 3 times and when I was shot in the throat? How? Because there's a higher power out there for us, you know. Hey, I always share this too, is when I was getting pushed into the, of course I don't remember none of this, I'm going to tell you that, but I was going into the emergency room. The doctor, Mr. Jordan, was coming out and he was doing his little relief shift. You know how they have to do a volunteer shift or something, a month or something, I don't know how it works. But he was actually walking out of his shift when they rolled me in, and he told me when I got out of the hospital a week and a half later that God put it on his heart for him to go in here and save my life. And he did. How many people know anybody's got shot in the throat with a P90 Ruger 45 point blank and live? My doctor said, Daniel, I said, what do I expect? Because I lost my arm for 2 years. He said, Daniel, it ain't like we went to medical school and had cases like that. He's like, they would be dead usually anyway, you know? But that sort of didn't slow me down any. I got worse, you know? But getting sober and realizing that God works through people now, instead of the miracles I think is going to go, boom. God puts people in your lives to help you, to maybe save your life. How many had people put your ass here? It's God working through people. You know, when I say God, of course, I mean your own conception. I get tired of saying that. And it goes on to say, and there often seems no way of entirely getting rid of self without his aid. Many of us had moral and physiological convictions galore, but we could not live up to them even though we would have liked to. Neither could we reduce our self-centeredness much by wishing or trying on our own power. We had to have God's help. In those 2 paragraphs, self is mentioned 13 different times. We're some selfish people, y'all. If you think about it, everything's always been for us. Even if we gave, we was wanting something in return usually. You know? Even when I cut my grandmother's grass or something like that, I was expecting money for it, even though I'd play the good grandson. Like, no, Grandma, you don't need to give me that money, blah, blah, blah. In my mind, I know she's going to make me take it, though. You know? So I have ulterior motives. I'm self-seeking as crap in the situation. I'm trying to make myself look good, though. I'm a good grandson. It didn't work out that great, though, I'll tell you that. Whew. Took a long time to repair that relationship. It says, this is the how and why of it. First of all, we had to quit playing God. It didn't work. And it tells us we got 3 decisions in the third step, which are 3 requirements of making that decision. It tells me that I have to realize that self-will will never keep me sober. Self-will will do nothing but keep me blocked from the spirit I need to get sober and stay sober. Because it tells you right here, if you turn back one page, on page 60, the 3 pertinent ideas. It says that we were alcoholic and could not manage our own lives. Check. That probably no human power could have relieved our alcoholism. Check. Couldn't do it for nobody. I couldn't even do it for myself. That God could and would if He were solved. Being convinced of that. Step 1. And step 2. Being convinced that the fact is I have a problem. And step 2, the fact is there is a solution. Step 3 is basically making that decision to seek the solution. That's all. It's a decision. You know, there's no action behind it. But you have to realize there's 3 decisions in the third step, which are 3 requirements. And the first one says, the first requirement is that we be convinced that any life run on self-will could hardly be a success. That's the first requirement. Second one, after I just read, it says next, on 62, next we decided that hereafter in the drama of life, God was going to be our director. In other words, we wasn't going to run our lives no more because we ain't done a great job, have we? We ain't done nothing but hurt everybody we love, hurt our kids, our family, end up in jail, or whatever the case may be. Aren't y'all tired of doing that? Aren't y'all tired of being a burden that your family can't even sleep at night? Hey, the best thing you could do right now is leave your family to hell alone, probably. You know why? Because this is the best sleep they probably had in a good while. Because you have robbed them of a lot of sleep, a lot of time. Think about all the times they probably set up worried about finding you in a ditch somewhere. Or getting that phone call that somebody's done killed you, or etc. You know? So you can't never say you ain't never stole nothing. Hey, like I just said, you stole time and sleep from your family. Not counting the damage we do to our kids, man. You know? And the thing is it's not us. It's that stupid ass disease. It's not us. We're the most giving and loving people in the world. And some of the smartest, actually. And I always say if we could actually get together and agree on things and do something, we could probably take over the damn world. The fact is, though, is we're going to argue and use character defects and be selfish and judge people. So it would never work. Or hell, half of us just steal shit from each other. We're not ever going to be able to work together like that. Because we're selfish. Now the third requirement is a little tricky. It's after the third step prayer. It says, we thought well before taking this step, making sure we were ready and that we could at last abandon ourselves utterly to Him. That's pretty big decisions, ain't it? But the hope of the book and hope of the spiritual aspect of this program is that by understanding step 1 and knowing that there is a solution, you don't know what it is. It doesn't matter. There is one. There is a solution for your problem. All I'm making is a decision to seek the power. But a decision ain't nothing unless you follow it with action, right? I make the decision to run out this door. I ain't going nowhere, am I? Because I just made a decision. I ain't put no action by running out the door. We've made millions of decisions in our lives, haven't we? I'm going to decide to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to go to school. I'm going to blah, blah, blah. And we ain't never follow it up. That's why we ain't never done it. It's time to get off that laziness and actually put in some effort to change your life. And quit being selfish, because it's not changing your life for yourself, honestly. You're changing your life for others to see it, to be able to help them later, and to help your family. Aren't you tired of hurting them? That's what I'm saying. Don't they deserve you to be the one, the kid, or the husband, the wife, the kids, grandkids, or whatever that your family deserves? Or that your family knows from the past before you started drinking and drugging? Because that's who they want you to be. That's who they're thinking about. They're like, well, I know he's a good guy. I know he's a good woman. He's this, this, and this. I've seen him. We are good people. We're just sick. Just like cancer. If somebody tells you got cancer and you're going to die if you don't take chemo, what are you going to do? Take chemo. Guess what? That's the decision for your chemo right there. Because what happens, it goes in remission, right? If you do the chemo, right? Usually. Well, I ain't gonna say usually. I mean, for my family so far, anyway. That's what we're doing. This right here is a daily reprieve to keep us in remission from our disease. It gives us the way out that we've been looking for the whole time. How many of y'all have heard people tell you, God will never put on you too much you can't handle? As spiritually as you can, tell them to go to hell. Because they need to read the rest of that verse. It tells us that He will give us a way out. He will not put on too much of you, and that He will not give you a way out. Guess what? Time-tested, proven method. 81 years last weekend, or this weekend, right? 81 years, there's still nothing else that'll do it. That'll help us. And hell, if they did come up with a pill, our selfish asses would try too, just to see what it's like. Oh, well, that one fixed me. Maybe this one will do some miracles. I tell you, we're addicts, dog. I mean, think about it. Hell, that one fixed me. This one might give me some power. The reality is, we're not fighting addiction. We're not fighting drugs and alcohol. Them are nothing but symptoms of our disease. Our disease itself. And the only way to get rid of it is by getting the hell out the way and doing the work. And this thing the book talks about. Follow the directions to be changed or transformed. Follow the directions. How many of y'all honestly ever really followed directions? Think about us buying something brand new. Do we ever look at the directions when we get it out the box? Come up with bolts and still left and all kind of crap.
Start on the back page.
I just did that with a slip and slide. It was funny. I didn't realize that you had to stake it into the ground and all this other crap because it's one of them long ones. And then you got to blow up because it's got like a ramp you go down. I'm like, what the hell did I buy? What is this? I thought it was just going to hook the water up to it and go. No, it took me an hour to put that damn thing together. But if I'd read directions, it probably would have took no time. I probably went right to it, it'd have been over with. We don't like people telling us what to do because of this. We think we know what's best for us and everybody else. I ain't got to do that. How many of y'all have been in AA before? Or been in meetings? It's very easy to go right in wall steps, ain't it? Oh, step one, yeah, hell yeah, I'm powerless. Step two, whatever. Step three, okay, I'll give my will over to you. There it is, God. You know? Hey, that's how it looks on that. But the thing is, they didn't hang the damn directions. And one of my best friends told me that, and when he told me that, it made perfect sense. It made perfect sense. Like, okay, well, it's telling me to do this. Well, how the hell do I do it? Because in the third step, you're not giving your will over. You're not giving your will over until you get the hell out of the way by doing the work. You've got to do the work. And for y'all that are procrastinating, you're playing with your life. You bullshit around, you are playing with your life. Ask anybody that's been here and had to come back. I'm a living proof of it. I had 7+ years sober. I quit doing what this book said, and within 6 months, I was smoking crack in a motel room. I started drinking at 3 months, thought I was handling it, but I was drinking more and more and more. I had to wake up and drink, because hey, drunken choice for me is probably alcohol, I would say. But I'll try any damn thing. I mean, you know, once I get drunk, my mind eventually goes to, okay, well, this ain't working now. Let's go get some meth. Or let's smoke crack. Or whatever the case may be. It's going to say, ding, ding, ding. I know what'll make you quit thinking about that. Hey, everybody else is going home anyway, usually, right? Hey, we ain't done partying. We just started. You know? But we got to get out the way. And what I was talking about earlier, by step 9, you'll usually have your own conception by then. Hey, my conception was simply God. Did I know what it was? Hell no. Did I really understand it? Hell no. But I can tell you this, something was changing my life, and it wasn't me because I got out of the way. My family was starting to talk to me. I got a job. Holy crap, a job. Does anybody know what that really is? Yeah. And I kept it. It was one of the craziest. I waited tables. I'm a convict. I did a bunch of time. I've been shot, stabbed. Here I am having to wait on people. God's got jokes sometimes. He said, you're going to practice 10, 11, and 12. I promise you. You're going to have to wait on all these older people during senior buffet hour. Ooh, boy, you talking about practicing the sixth thing he talks about. Holy shit. It says we have to continue to follow directions. 10, 11, and 12. 10 keeps you unblocked by dealing with crap as it comes up. Because in 1 through 9, you've done got rid of all the bullshit pretty much that's been bothering you your whole life. I mean, you're going to have stuff you're going to remember. You're going to have stuff that's going to crop back up. And you're going to have to take a look at. But all in all, the relief's there. It's gone. God has removed so much from us that we don't really remember that. We'll forget. 10 keeps us unblocked by dealing with our selfishness, our dishonesty, our resentment, our character defects as they crop up. We got to have a defense. Now, 10 keeps us unblocked, but 11 keeps us connected to the power we need. Hey, when you pray, you're talking to God, right? Or your conception. When you're trying to meditate, you're actually trying to listen. You know? For me, it was hard meditating. Like I say all the time, I still use the same mantra I learned in 2007. My Father and I am one, as I'm breathing in, and when I breathe out, for all I seek is within me. So if you're struggling with meditation, try that. Hey, I'm probably one of the worst ADD people you've ever met. And I can do it, you know? Because if not, I'm like hearing airplanes and birds and somebody cough. You know what I'm saying? So that helps you because you're concentrating on your breathing and you're saying the mantra. Now, there's a catch to step 11, though. What's before on awakening?
Retire at night.
Retirement. There's a reason it's wrote like that. Because, for one, we're going to suck at 10 steps when we first get sober. We are going to suck at 10 steps. You're not going to properly do it. You're going to pick and choose how you do it. Blah, blah, blah. Are your 10 steps stuff and it's just not going away? Retirement is to help catch that. It's to see if you owe any amends, if you've missed something during the day. Because if you don't do retirement, you will get high eventually. I'm just going to be honest. Because I took a look at myself. I thought it was 10 that I quit doing. That all this was piling up because of the 10 step. No. It was because I quit retiring at night first. I quit retiring at night, so how was I going to wake up the next day without the baggage from the day before? That's what retirement does. It gets rid of all that crap from yesterday or today, let's say tonight. You get rid of everything that's went on today and you don't carry it over to the next day. Because what happens if you don't? You're going to carry it over one day. You're going to carry it over 2 days. Then it's all going to start piling up on us, and what do?
Run.
Get everything and run and get high. Too much, hey, we can walk through stuff one at a time, but once it becomes piled up on us, we are the world's worst at handling that kind of shit. We will run and we get high because we don't want to deal with it, or we want to be numb, or we just say, F it. Yeah, I did good. I said it. But you have to continue, and the other step is step 12. You stay unblocked with 10, you stay connected in 11. Step 12 basically reminds you of where the hell you came from. Makes you remember that you sit there and suffer just like the new person. Not only that, you pretty much owe it to somebody that took the time for you. And the biggest one is that y'all read the promises every morning in the 12th step. When you see somebody finally see hope and understand that there's a chance, and you see it in their eyes, there ain't nothing like it. Nothing like it. There ain't a high that will ever touch that when you're helping somebody and you see that light come on. I'm blessed. I work here. I get to see it hundreds of times a year, you know. But the best is when the desperate really realize, hey, there is a way out finally. But you gotta remember, you gotta get out the way because it ain't gonna work with you. You gotta seek that higher power and you gotta get out the way. Has anybody got any questions or anything? All right, let's go.